Hello and welcome back. Today we have Platinum Review number 4, Astro's Playroom. Published by Sony Interactive Entertainment and developed by Japan Studio, now known as Team Asobi, Astro's Playroom is a third-person platformer that was released in 2020 as a built-in game for the PlayStation 5. Essentially serving as an extensive tech demo for the DualSense controller, the game follows 2018's Astrobot rescue mission and is a nostalgia-filled adventure. The game begins with a journey into the PS5 itself, passing through history along the way. A brief tutorial familiarizes the player with the features of the DualSense controller and introduces some mechanics that will be used later on. With a swipe of the touchpad, Astrobot is launched and lands inside the PS5. It is here that he discovers CPU Plaza, one of the central locations of the game. From here, the player can access each of the 4 main worlds, and the 4 stages within each, as well as explore CPU Plaza itself. While exploring, Astrobot can find coins to spend elsewhere, as well as puzzle pieces. After collecting everything in CPU Plaza, the first world he enters is GPU Jungle, and its first section, Render Forest. The goal of each level is to explore and collect coins, puzzle pieces, and artifacts hidden throughout the area. Artifacts are items from PlayStation's history, with each of the 4 worlds representing a different time period. The first artifact found is the PlayStation Move controller, signifying that GPU Jungle contains classic items from the PlayStation 4 and VR era. As Astrobot continues to explore, other bots will be found reenacting some of the most famous PlayStation games. The next section is Teraflop Treetops. Here, Astrobot enters a monkey suit and a new mechanic is unlocked. The functionality of the adaptive triggers is on full display, as the triggers must be lightly and heavily touched and the controller rotated to climb. The next section is Ray Trace Ruins. Astrobot must fight enemies and carefully platform until reaching a boss fight. Using a newly found bow and arrow and carefully dodging attacks, this is no problem. Mount Motherboard brings back the monkey suit and some more climbing. Reaching the end, only one artifact remains in GPU Jungle, and that is the PlayStation 4 itself. After collecting this and earning a trophy, Astrobot will exit and enter a new area, PlayStation Labo. Here, all the artifacts found throughout your adventure will be on full display, and even have some interactable pieces. The puzzle pieces will also begin to form a mural on the wall that you can admire. The in-game map will allow you to replay any area you have previously visited, and will show how many artifacts or puzzle pieces you still need to collect in each area, so going back for cleanup is no problem. After collecting the world's final artifact, Things begin to change back at CPU Plaza, with a new mysterious area, but it's not quite reachable yet. New speedrun challenges are also unlocked. From here, Astrobot enters the next world, Cooling Springs. Arriving at Bop Beach, more of the same awaits. The player must explore, fight enemies, and collect. This time, the artifacts are from the PlayStation 3 era. Whenever Astrobot enters deep water, he utilizes a pool floaty to safely stay above the water. The next section, Springy Spa, introduces a frog suit that utilizes the controller's tilt controls to aim and jump to platforms. The next section, Frigid Flows, leaves the frog suit behind as Astrobot ventures through the icy terrain. The final section, Hotel Hop-A-Lot, brings back the frog suit and more jump-filled and tricky platforming. Reaching the end, will reveal the final artifact, the PlayStation 3. Collecting this will reward a trophy and change things once again back at CPU Plaza, but the mysterious area is still not fully unlocked. Astrobot then proceeds to the next world, Memory Meadow, and its first section, Gusty Gateway. As the name suggests, the wind is strong and attempts to knock the player off course. As Astrobot continues, the weather grows darker, and it now begins to rain, but he is prepared with a built-in umbrella. The next section, Fast Lane Fields, takes place on top of some clouds and introduces another new mechanic. Here, the touchpad is swiped to control Astrobot contained within a rolling ball. The stronger the swipe, the more it rolls, and direction can be changed or the ball stopped with different touches. Later, the platforms begin to narrow and the rolling requires intense precision. Discovering artifacts here will reveal the original PlayStation era. The next section, Electro Cloud, sees Astrobot reach higher into the sky, where the weather grows even darker than before as a storm rolls in. This level had much more platforming and environmental hazards to avoid, with some very intense sections. Reaching the end, which is a giant robot hand, will take Astrobot to the next section, Bumper Broadway. This area utilizes the rolling ball mechanic from earlier, but Astrobot is essentially inside a pinball machine and can get knocked easily around by nearby objects. This is followed by the most difficult rolling part of the game. Astrobot must travel on very narrow and slippery ice. Moving extremely slow and precisely, he will reach the end, but I fell off many, many times. Reaching the end of the level will reward the player with one of the greatest sounds of all time and the final artifact, the original PlayStation. I will never forget as a kid waiting desperately for the PlayStation symbol to follow, especially on a heavily worn disc, because too often it would not get past the Sony screen, and my game was done. Although, it would still sometimes freeze on the logo. I would try toothpaste and highlighter to buff the disc, with sometimes miraculously lucky results to save a game, but usually it was no good. It turns out, all you had to do was flip the console upside down, but who knew that at the time? PlayStation Labo will fill with all the newfound goodies, and the mural will continue to fill out, and the mysterious area will again change. With only one world to go, Astrobot enters SSD Speedway and its first section, Turbo Trail. Right away, a new mechanic is introduced, this time with Astrobot utilizing a glider and tilt controls. This was a little tricky at first to not over or undershoot your target, but was easy to make quick adjustments after 1 or 2 tries to get the hang of it. Discovering artifacts here will be from the PlayStation 2 era. Eventually, he will reach the top of a rocket, caching caves, and acquire a mini ship of his own. Using the adaptive triggers, Astrobot can steer and ascend to higher areas. This was probably my favorite mechanic of the game, as the ship was really fun to control. The next section, Deep Data Space, is back to the usual platforming and enemy fights, until Astrobot eventually finds a blaster. This took out enemies with ease in no time and was awesome to use. The final section, Orbital Obstacles, is another ship flying part, but with more intense hazards and precise navigation required. Finally, Astrobot will obtain the final artifact of SSD Speedway, the PlayStation 2. As he returns to PlayStation Labo, there is a strange noise coming from the mysterious area of CPU Plaza. As Astrobot approaches the area, many other bots are gathered around. He enters and is taken back to the year 1994. He travels deeper until he is confronted by a T-Rex tech demo and a boss fight ensues. After an epic battle, Astrobot emerges victorious as the T-Rex falls in defeat. However, the victory is short-lived, as this isn't even its final form, and the T-Rex re-emerges looking sleek with a new and improved, higher definition appearance. Astrobot runs to safety, and they must battle again. This time, the T-Rex stays down and out, but the adventure is not over yet. This time, Astrobot obtains the only artifact left to find, the PlayStation 5, and the game ends. However, there is still more to do in Astro's Playroom. Now, it's time to spend those coins you've been collecting throughout the game. In the PlayStation Labo is a gacha vending machine that will reward a wide variety of prizes in exchange for coins. These are limited and include unlocks such as mural pieces, artifacts, bots for the Labo, or useless soda cans. Once there is nothing left, you should have all artifacts and puzzle pieces, so long as you are collecting everything throughout your journey. For the Platinum, it is required to obtain all of the prizes in the gacha machine game, artifacts, and mural pieces, and this is how the majority of your time will be spent. After completing the game and acquiring all collectibles, there are some miscellaneous tasks to complete in the Labo, such as sending 10 bots flying with a single spin attack, punching the logo on the PlayStation 2 to flip it, looking into the lens of the PlayStation VR, and standing at the top of the tip of the aim controller, to name a few. Nothing is too difficult here. There are also random tasks associated with the different worlds, such as jumping off the diving board or hitting the ball in a frog suit. Again, nothing too difficult. After achieving all of these trophies, the only thing left to do is get a speed run time of under 7 minutes. This was not terrible and is segmented, so each section could be mastered individually, but I was not much below the time restraint as it was. However, this trophy is a part of only 3 additional DLC trophies, so by this point, the Platinum will already be yours. But with only 3 extra trophies, you might as well get these 2. The other 2 are to piss off the CPU chip and get it to send bots flying, and get the PS5 artifact, which I guess wasn't part of the original version of the game, but when I got my PS5 shortly after release, this was already part of the game, so I'm not too sure. Overall, Astro's Playroom was a wonderful Platinum experience. As a longtime fan of PlayStation, this nostalgia-filled throwback was a complete joy from start to finish. It was a perfect homage to PlayStation's past while looking to the future. As a tech demo, it showcased the abilities of the new controller in a really fun way with unique mechanics for each world. The tie-ins to different games throughout with the bots kept you looking for more because you never knew what familiar favorite you would stumble across next. The artifacts representing different console generations really brought back warm memories of that particular era and what those items meant to me at the time. There are hidden Easter eggs and clever details lurking around every corner. Astro's Playroom is a charming and heartwarming journey that truly celebrates all things PlayStation. This is a must-play for any PlayStation fan, young or old. I recommend getting this Platinum as it was a short and sweet, member-berry-filled adventure, but also a great platformer in its own right. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time for Platinum Review number 5.